Hello YouTube, hey, it's Dave here with another watch love video, and this time comparing a $400 watch to a $4,000 watch, asking the question, is it really worth paying 10 times the price for a luxury piece when you can get something as beautiful and as amazing as this Seiko Cocktail Time? Perhaps you're like I was when I first started out collecting watches, and you really just thought, man, $300 or $400 was a pretty crazy price to pay for a watch. But then over time, you found yourself wanting the $1,000, $1,500 watch, and then realizing that, man, once you can cross that $1,500 mark, you start getting into some pretty amazing pieces. Like the one I have here. This is on the right is the Aqua Terra. It is the Seamaster blue dial, reference number 311.10.42. So this is a 42 millimeter .10.0003. And this is the Master Coaxial Chronometer Edition, not the latest one that has the horizontal teak decking going across and the 6 o'clock date window. But this one instead is the one just before this, and I preferred the vertical striping. So just picked this up about 2 weeks ago and been enjoying it very much. And then on the left we have the Seiko Cocktail Time. This is the SRPB41. The blue, beautiful blue radiant dial, and I have a video on here if you want to take a look at it. And both of these are just spectacular watches. In fact, I bought the Cocktail Time really to tide me over for what I thought would be months to a year before buying the Aqua Terra. But not long after I bought the Seiko, I ended up becoming able to purchase this one, and decided to go ahead and get the Aqua Terra, which was sort of been my second grail, along with my Omega Seamaster, which is just an absolutely wonderful piece itself. So I recently picked up the Aqua Terra, and now I'm kind of have both of these side by side, and not really sure if I'm going to keep the Seiko, but at this point I thought it'd be great to kind of wear them both off and on and see kind of what I think of them together. Given for the price I paid for the Seiko, it might be worth just keeping as as a weekend watch or as a vacation watch where I don't want to put the expensive Omega at risk. But really, the question comes down to, is this watch on the right really 10 times the value of the watch on the left? And so we're going to kind of take a look at that today, give you my perspective on it, and maybe help you make that decision. First of all, let's talk about price. So let's talk about the Cocktail Time on the left. The Cocktail Time retails for about $450. You can pick it up at Long Island watches for $338, and I actually bought this on eBay with the international warranty for about $312, I believe. And then of course you can pick these up used somewhere probably in the $250 range on up. In fact, probably closer to $300 given how popular they are. So that gives you an idea. This is a $300 to $400 watch. Now on the right we have the Aqua Terra. This retails in an authorized dealer for $6,000. I'm going to be hopeful that you're not crazy enough to buy it by retail. So probably a more realistic price, if you take 20% off of that at an authorized dealer, you're looking at about a $4,800 watch. Now this here I did not pay that much for. I paid about $3,700 at Joma Shop. That's a gray market dealer. So in the gray market you can shave off at least $1,000 probably off of an authorized dealer price. And of course used, these are running around $3,000, maybe slightly less if you can get a good deal. I was not able to find one used, and I decided it was worth going ahead and paying the extra for the new, knowing that I would be able to go 7 to 10, maybe 12 years before ever having to pay servicing costs, something I couldn't do if I bought used. So really, again, the question, is this worth $4,000 compared to $400? So let me kind of go through three different areas and kind of take a look at each of these watches and show you the difference. First, let's start with movement, and we're going to take a look here at the Seiko. If we can get that to focus here. So on the Seiko, we have, of course, that beautiful, gorgeous blue dial. No doubt that that's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful look. And I apologize for the lighting. It's really going to be hard to get it to show with indoor lighting. But let's take a look at the movement. Let me open this butterfly clasp so you can see. What we have here is a Seiko 4R35B. And really, this has gotten a lot of flack because it's probably in the lower end of Seiko's movements, pretty close to the 7S36. I think that's what's in the SKX. I may have those numbers wrong. But I have the SKX, and it's not hacking or hand windable, but this one is. So this is sort of a hand winding version of that, and it gets a lot of it's a low end, basic functioning piece. And you can see it doesn't have much decoration. You do have the, I guess, the gold-plated Seiko rotor, but it's not ugly to look at. Pretty nice. I certainly enjoy taking it off the wrist and taking a look at it. But at this price point, you're not going to get much decoration. You're not going to get much high horology here. But you will get a nice workhorse movement. Now, let me tell you what's amazing about this particular movement for me. Is that I bought this on the 22nd, 23rd of December of 2017. It is currently February of 2017. And the watch has only stopped on me once because I went out of town and left it. So I did have to restart it back up. But in that entire time, I've only wound it and set it one time. And I am running, get this, 0.0 seconds, meaning I am smack dab right on time. Now, I haven't checked it today to see, it's maybe a couple of seconds off. But let me tell you what that means. Does this mean that, this is high horology, and why would you ever pay $4,000 for a watch when you can get an accurate movement like this? Well, here's the deal. This watch, this movement is not accurate right out of the box. In fact, this is what is going to differentiate this from a much higher end timepiece. While it may be 0.0, it's only because I have learned to manipulate the movement in the way I store the watch at night. So I learned pretty quickly. I tried it in different positions, and I noticed that when I just left it in the watch box, dial up, it would go from anywhere from minus a second to plus 2 or 3 seconds, just laying in the watch box. That's pretty fabulous, actually. Now, then I noticed that when I would wear it, sometimes it would gain 4 or 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and then sometimes it would lose when I would wear it. But then I noticed that after it get about 12, 15 seconds ahead, I would just lay it 3 o'clock up in the watch box overnight, and this thing would lose exactly 12 to 13 seconds, and that would get me almost right back to perfect time. And so that's what I've been doing with this watch. I would let it wear it or leave it face up in the watch box, and over time it would gain 12 to 15 seconds, and then I would lay it 3 o'clock crown up overnight, and it would lose the time right back to 0. So I've just kept doing that, and because I know this movement now pretty well after owning the watch for a month or so, I'm able to do that and keep this very accurately. So does that mean you would ever need anything more than this kind of movement? Well, here's the problem, is that this is going to take a lot of maintenance with a watch like this. So when you're paying $300 or $400 for a watch like this, you're going to get a basic movement. And for a while it may do great like this and run beautifully. But I've noticed with these Seikos over time, my SKX right now is running plus 25 seconds, plus 14 seconds. It depends on when I catch it. It really is all over the map, and so as that watch has started to age, I've not been able to depend on the accuracy of that movement like I was in the beginning, and that's more likely what you're going to get with a piece like this. So as excited as I am to getting perfectly accurate timing right now, I know that that's not going to be the case forever. That over time this may start to lose time, it may start to gain time. It may even get to the point where I want to pop the back off and see if I can do an adjustment, which you can easily do with these movements. I'm hoping to avoid that altogether. But anyway, so that gives you an idea. The 4R35, really nice piece. I'm really happy with this movement. But that begs the question, if I can regulate this to 0, not losing any time at all, keeping perfect time, then what about this? Well, now we're talking about the Aqua Terra. This is the master coaxial chronometer. So this is supposed to get really, really good time. Now I know the regular chronometer is supposed to be what, -2 to +6 or something like that, -4 to +6. And I know the master chronometer, and I apologize for not looking up ahead of time, is even tighter than that. But here's the thing, I've had this for 2 weeks. Now this piece here has run an amazing 1.3 seconds a day fast almost every time I've checked it. Sometimes 1.6, but never any variations outside of that. Now why is that? This is because this is the 8500 coaxial chronometer, master chronometer, has been regulated and set in such a way that it really has a much greater sense of reliability. I've tried it in different positions, and I'm not getting any different kind of readings than what I just told you about. And that's what you get for 10 times the price. You get a movement that has the latest in horological technology with the coaxial movement. I really do believe in the greatness of the coaxial movement. I think it's great that Omega has taken that leap forward while other brands have sort of just kind of stayed the same. So I give Omega a lot of credit for that, and that's what you're buying in a high-end watch like this. And of course, you're also getting this spectacular, beautiful movement. You're getting something that's well decorated. You're getting something that just has a beautiful touch to it. Just something that you just really can be amazed at when you look at it on the wrist. And I love taking this watch off and just taking a break and just looking what's on the back and seeing this beautiful piece in action. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. So starting with the movement, if you're going to compare these two, really, there's nothing wrong with this. It's going to work fine for you. When it comes to the movement, it's going to be a workhorse. It's going to be reliable, probably go God knows how many years. This is not a movement I would ever get serviced. Now this, of course, on the other hand, is a movement that I expect to give me great service and great time. So is it worth 10 times the price? Well, probably not in strictest terms, but if you're a watch lover and you want something that's going to last you a long time to come, this is the watch you would want then. Okay. So that's looking at the movement. So what about next? Next is going to be fit and finishing. So on a watch like this, there is no doubt that this Cocktail Time has an amazing dial, if I can get it to focus. The dial is just absolutely incredible. And I would put this dial up with a $4,000 watch any day of the week. I mean, you could almost slap that on a Grand Seiko and put Grand Seiko quality movement around it, and you would just be proud to own this thing. I mean, it's a fabulous dial. And of course, also fabulous is the Aqua Terra dial, the blue dial that looks absolutely amazing in the sunlight. While it is vertical in its striping, or horizontal if you get the latest edition, you also have a sunburst effect, so that when you move, when you get the watch in certain kind of light, it also does what the Cocktail Time does, gives you that nice sunburst effect. And really does just sparkle. So dial I would call about even, but then when you move beyond the dial and you get to the markers, I think what really differentiates these two pieces are the markers. Now I love the Art Deco style markers on the Seiko, absolutely love them. But what I notice about the Aqua Terra, and maybe you could notice it, is there's just an extra sparkle to the markers. I've tried to look it up. There are some rumors out there that that's white gold. Some say that's no longer white gold in these latest editions, that it actually is rhodium plated, and I believe rhodium is even rarer than white gold, so it's a valuable piece. And then some just say it's a quote, silver toned markers. I don't know what that means, so I'm not really sure what the material is, but what I notice is that with the Omega, there's a sparkle to this that screams quality that I don't quite see on the Seiko when I wear it out. Now, you can't really notice it. I only notice it when I put them side by side, and I really begin to see just the extra sparkle to the materials on the Omega versus the Seiko. It does catch the light, but it's not quite as as reflective in those particular markers as this is on the Aqua Terra. So I really, really think what you're getting for $4,000 versus $400 is you're getting that extra beauty, that extra touch. And on this, you can see the markers are kind of indented down, and so somewhere in the markers here, you can see that they are angled towards the center. So I mean, that's an amazing touch that you can't just see looking at it, but you can look at it as you look up close. you realize that's a beautiful touch that you're not going to find on a lower end watch. And then when we move in when we talk about fit and finish, I really love the finishing on Omega's cases. I mean, it's nothing ultra extravagant, but it's really beautiful, and I love the twisted lugs of this of the Omega case style. The reason I could probably own all Omega in my collection is simply the shape of that case. I love that case. It's the same case on my Speedmaster. So what you get here is you get a tried and true design that Omega has perfected and just is classic and will last for decades to come. You know, if you look at the Seiko, you have I mean, a pretty basic case shape. You get just polished all the way around. You don't get any brushed finishes. They have some cases that are really multi-dimensional. I talked about the Grand Seiko, or excuse me, the Grand Cocktail, that absolutely has some wonderful finishing on it. And certainly think that while this is certainly beautiful, you do feel over time, as you start to wear a watch that, of course, is 10 times this price, you start to really feel the difference in quality. There's certainly a difference in weight. If you start to compare the bracelets, both are very beautiful. But when you get close to the Omega, you start to realize that the Omega has an extra bit of heft and quality that you don't get here. I mean, if you start to look at the clasp here on the Seiko, it's a very thin clasp, not very fantastic in any way. I can see this over time kind of getting loose and breaking, and you know, not snapping in there quite as well. But on this one, man, you have a greater heft that really does show when you reach out and snap this shut. And you know, it's interlocking here, so you lock the one first and the other second, and it really holds. And yeah, you can see I already scratched the heck out of it, and I've tried to be really careful with this. But from a nice distance, this really is a beautiful piece. Look at that. Nice. Very, very hefty bracelet, and definitely something you know is matching the quality of the rest of the watch. So overall fit and finish, you're going to get just there's no stone unturned on this piece here. Whereas this has certainly cut some corners. Hollow end links, I believe, on this. Misses out on the weight that the Omega has. But beautiful on the wrist. I mean, is this worth 10 times this? I'm just going to be clear. The answer is definitely not. Not if you're just looking at value for what you get here and comparing it value what you get here as far as simply material-wise. But there's something else that is worth it when you start thinking about these watches. And that is what you're going to do with these watches over time. And maybe this is where the difference really begins to be noticed. On a $4,000 watch, what you're looking at here is a high cost of entry to owning the watch, right? I mean, you're looking at a lot of money. But what you're also looking at is that as these watches age, this watch here is going to increase in value. It really is. Now, this one might, if it ends up becoming a rare piece or discontinued and they don't make anything else like it, you know, so there's an off chance that this $400 watch might be worth $400 later, you know, 10 years from now. But my guess is it's probably not. When we go back to materials, you look at the fact this is a Hardlex crystal versus the sapphire crystal. So this in 10 years is going to have quite a bit of scratching on it, perhaps. And certainly the quality will be noticeable. Is it worth going out and getting a replacement crystal? I don't know for a watch of this price. However, with the Omega Seamaster here, you're going to see this watch last and last and last. You're going to get it serviced, and you're going to see it appreciate in value at some point. So while there's a high cost of entry for getting this watch, once you get it, you know you can get your money out of it. I'm not going to get my money out of it anytime soon because I paid for it new, even though it was gray market. I got a good deal. I'm not going to get what I would get if I had bought that used. So that's one thing to think about. I always recommend getting used. But in this case, I plan on keeping it. So 10 years from now, I should, if I decide to sell this watch, I probably will get as much, if not more, than what I paid for it out of it. If I sell it within 10 years, I may not even service it. And in that case, I'll end up getting much of my money back, and the cost of wearing this watch over the course of 10 years will end up being zero, and I can get my money out of it. This will ultimately be considered a disposable piece at some point. It will end up in a watch box somewhere. My kids will find it. It'll all be banged up and scratched up, and they may or may not do anything with it. This one I'll be certain to pass down for generations to come. I don't think anybody throws a watch like this away. You know, these are kept for life, and you have a heritage piece to hand down. High cost of entry, but once you get there, you really have a piece that has value. Low cost of entry, you can keep it, enjoy it for an extended period of time, but over time it doesn't become something that you keep forever. This one you do. Anyway, those are just some thoughts. I don't know if there's any conclusions to this, except I'm happy to own this, and I love owning this, and you know, this is a long view for me. This is a very short view. I will enjoy this until I'm ready to sell it. I'll keep this as long as we both shall last. What about you? What do you think about these higher end timepieces? Is it worth taking that step up? What do you think? And again, I apologize for the lousy focus on this camera, but I thank you for tuning in, and I hope you'll give me a like and subscribe if you can. Meanwhile, hey, take care and have a great day.